On Monday, the Maine GOP chair, Dr. Demi Kazunas, authored a piece in the Bangor Daily News denouncing the dehumanizing tactics that are being used in politics. Demi wrote, "In this time of seemingly endless political division, we all need to take a deep breath, step back, and remember that the vast majority of us are caring members of our communities who want the best for our children, parents, friends, and yes, ourselves." Demi also wrote about the critical issues that are facing Maine today, including the opioid crisis. Demi wrote, "Maine medical professionals are leading by avoiding overprescription of painkillers. This is a huge step in the right direction we are all thankful for. Still, overprescription of opioids is not the only problem. Cheap heroin and synthetic drugs have flooded our state. Some of these drugs are manufactured domestically, while most come across our insecure national borders. We cannot keep our heads in the sand on this. It is literally killing us." Demi offered several solutions to the crisis, including helping families get help for their loved ones who are struggling with addiction. She pointed out one of the best remedies is increasing economic opportunity in Maine. When we do not feel connected to a brighter future, we are more likely to become hopeless. Demi concluded with this important point we are sure you all know, but some have forgotten. Sadly, healthy political discourse in Maine and America has become nearly impossible. Too many have forgotten their Republican neighbors are some of the most caring people they know. Their moms, dads, teachers, coaches, nurses, community leaders, and people who will be there for their neighbors in times of trouble. Trust me, we are all better off if we get back to remembering that. Let's get to work on it. We hope that Democrats and liberal progressives take Demi's message to heart. Governor LePage has brought forward legislation to address the barbaric practice of female genital mutilation. On Tuesday, Republicans held a press conference to discuss this horrific act.
Female genital mutilation is practiced on girls as young as infants to the age of 15. We must ensure that any bill outlawing FGM allows us to aggressively prosecute these horrific crimes against children. Educational programs do not hold anyone accountable. They do not stop mutilation of children. We must be able to prosecute.
Hello, everyone. My name is Effie Cole. I'm 44 years of age, and I'm from Sierra Leone, West Africa. I underwent FGM at age 11. My mom had nothing to do with it. It was my stepmom's idea. She underwent FGM. She is half Lebanese, half Sierra Leonean, and she thought it was okay for her to take someone else's daughter and have her tortured for the rest of her life. This happened 33 years ago, and I'm still learning to live with it, because you can't but live with it.
I'll tell you, any form of child abuse is criminal. And we as Mainers need to stand up and say, not in our state. Thank you.
Representative Heather Siraki sponsored similar legislation last year, but the Democrats in the House blocked it. We don't know what on earth they were thinking, but we hope that they come to their senses this year. Last week, Democrat candidate for governor, Janet Mills, was endorsed by a national pro-abortion group called Emily's List. We at the Maine GOP were reminded of this moment when Mills made a bad joke about Governor LePage and abortion.
I heard Paul LePage say he's dead set against abortion because he was one of 18 children after all.
Do you have any idea what Janet Mills was trying to say? We're still not sure. In response to Janet Mills being endorsed by the big national pro-abortion group, Maine GOP Chair Dr. Demi Kazunas had this to say. "This is what we're up against. People who do not even take the issue of abortion seriously. Regardless of where one stands on the issue, most people on both sides of it take it very seriously. Even Mainers who are pro-choice thoughtfully believe abortion should be rare, not something to celebrate and joke about. Whether you, your family, and your friends want Maine's next governor to be someone who makes jokes about abortion, even bad jokes, is something we hope you will consider and encourage others to consider as well. Note to Janet Mills and the Maine Democratic Party, abortion is no laughing matter. In much more positive news, the Maine Republican Party is proud to announce that in the 2nd Congressional District, we have essentially closed the voter registration gap. In 2012, there were 6,680 more Democrats registered in Maine's 2nd Congressional District than Republicans. Today, the deficit is just 239 people. The only Republican congressman from New England is Bruce in CD2, and we'd also like to know that CD2 gave an electoral vote to President Trump and helped get Governor LePage elected. In response to this news, Maine GOP Chair Dr. Demi Kouzounis had this to say: "This is further evidence voters in Maine are moving towards Republicans. To go from a massive voter registration deficit to basically even with Democrats in just 6 years would seem mind-blowing, except for the fact that we had faith that what we've been working on is right, and now we're seeing Maine people agree." This just goes to show that the Republican message is resonating with Mainers. Congressman Bruce Poliquin has been a national leader in passing legislation through the U.S. House of Representatives. And this week, Bruce did it again. This week, the U.S. House of Representatives passed sweeping changes to reform the claims process for sexual harassment in the legislative branch to make it easier for victims to report abuse. Upon passage by the House, Bruce had this to say: "Employees should always feel safe and comfortable in their own workplace. And it is past time that Congress acts to ensure employees here have the support to act on and prevent sexual harassment." I'm pleased Republicans and Democrats are acting on making these important reforms so that victims can more easily report abuse. There can be no tolerance of any kind for sexual harassment, period. We expect this bill to become law, and this week's movement was a step in the right direction. Thank you, Bruce. Governor LePage has long made the case for the federal government giving states more flexibility in administering their Medicaid programs. Recently, in the Washington Post, the administrator of the Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services made the same case. The Medicaid director wrote, "When we created Medicaid in 1965 as part of President Lyndon B. Johnson's war on poverty, we formalized that commitment and wove a fabric of care that has provided health services for seniors in need, pregnant mothers, low-income children and parents, and people with disabilities." Johnson affirmed the nation's safety net, saying, "Our aim is not only to relieve the symptoms of poverty, but to cure it and, above all, to prevent it." This has long been the understanding about welfare, that it is a safety net for those in need, not a crutch for those that are able to take care of themselves. The Medicaid director also noted, prior to passage of the Affordable Care Act, the Medicaid program focused on caring for seniors in need, pregnant mothers, children, and Americans with disabilities. But in 2010, the ACA fundamentally changed Medicaid by shifting predominantly low-income adults, often without children, healthy, and working age, into a program that was not designed for them. He continued, "Our aim is to restore a strong state-federal relationship while also modernizing the program to deliver better outcomes for all of the population served. The first step is to recognize that Washington does not know what is best for states. To the contrary, we should empower states to work with their communities, providers, and citizens to design innovative programs that meets their diverse needs while holding them accountable for achieving positive outcomes." The Medicaid director concluded, "We owe it to these Americans to try whatever may help them achieve the dignity and self-sufficiency that they deserve." Here at the Maine GOP, we feel incredibly grateful to have had Governor Paul LePage in the Blaine House for the last 7 years. So in response to that, we would like to highlight some of the great things the governor has done for our state. One of his most impressive accomplishments as governor has been job creation and slashing the unemployment rate. When the governor took office in January of 2011, the unemployment rate sat at 8.1%. Today, it's at 3%. meaning in the last 7 years, the governor slashed the unemployment rate by more than half. During that time, the state has also added over 29,000 jobs, which, to put into context, is almost the population size of Bangor. This is yet another way that Governor LePage has helped improve the lives of Maine people. Thank you, Governor. Thank you for watching this episode of News You Can Trust. For more content, you can go to MaineGOP.com or to our YouTube channel. If you would like to support the News You Can Trust program, you can go to MaineGOP.com/donate and support us today. Thank you so much for watching.